morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Good
Morning,
sir.
Abhishek. Please sit down. And Abhishek, take just about a minute and tell us about your background
Okay, sir.
very quickly.
Sir, I'm Abhishek Khandelwal. I come from Semri Harchand, a village in Hoshangabad district in Madhya Pradesh. I did my BTech in Mechanical Engineering from IIT Kanpur. Then I opted for MS in Economics in IIT Kanpur itself. After that, I went to Axis Bank for my job as business analyst. And then I started preparing for UPSC.
Oh, great. How was this transition from engineering to economics?
Sir, IIT has this system of open electives. So I took some open electives in microeconomics and macroeconomics.
At the undergraduate level also?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
So I liked them, so I opted for MS in economics. Also, sir, before coming for IAS, I wanted to study as much as I could, so I opted for
Great, good.
economics.
Brilliant.
Abhishek,
Yes, sir.
let's start with a bit of economics.
Yes.
Father of economics. Who was father of economics? Who is generally known as?
I don't know, sir. May I take a guess?
Adam Smith.
Yes, I was.
About 2.5 centuries from today.
Mhm.
He made a statement, quote, unquote. To quote him, 90% of human problems are economic problems, unquote. That was about 250 years ago. To what extent it is relevant today, and to what extent you agree with him today?
Sir, I would say economic problems are still major issues for a person. For example, so economic upliftment helps a person to.
I am not on that at all.
Okay, sir.
Everybody knows it. What is the question is, obviously the focus in the question is 90%. And that's why, to what extent you agree with this and your reasons for that. If you agree with him, I'll ask you reasons. If you disagree, again, you will give your reasons.
So may I think for some time?
Do you need to calculate percentages?
No, sir. So I would say I would say he was right to a certain extent, sir, because improvement.
Yes, it's right to a certain extent, definitely. Basically, I'm coming to the question: what are the problems which are not economic problems? Give me examples of 3-4 examples as on today.
So, for example, the inhibitions for women in our society. These are the problems that are cultural and traditional in nature.
Okay, that's one.
And after that, sir, climate change.
Climate change is another. Very good.
The second one is that, and
okay, let's talk about climate change.
Okay,
sir. There's a lot of news in the last 2-3 days on climate change. Yesterday, every channel on TV, it was climate change. What is the reason why?
Sir, IPCC has published a report in which they have said that anthropogenic factors are the important factors in which are responsible for climate.
What are those anthropological factors?
Sir, such as pollution created by humans, carbon dioxide emissions.
So basically, that's what I hear from most people, that it is the carbon dioxide which is the culprit, which is creating all the problems.
Yes, sir.
Is it so? I don't understand one. There was a landslide. Side by side, that news was going on. How can carbon dioxide cause landslides? I don't understand.
Sir, of course, there are natural factors in there. Sometimes we have more rainfall in monsoons, and that creates problem. But this is also aggravated by climate change.
How carbon dioxide can contribute to it?
Sir, through carbon dioxide, we have higher temperature, higher global temperature, and also it is resulting in basically erratic rainfall, and sometimes we have extreme rainfall, and sometimes we have deficiency in rainfall. So that is why it is causing.
But first of all, the high temperature is here. Is the high temperature there on the hills also where landslides are occurring?
No, sir. But
generally not.
Yes, sir. But I would say the reason for high rainfall is erratic monsoon, and erratic monsoon is because of extreme.
Okay, but then rains are bound to come at the hills. Is the rain which is causing the landslide?
Rainfall is one of the factors.
It's one of, what are the other factors causing landslides?
So other factor would be urbanization in hilly areas.
Urbanization around the landslide area, what specifically is happens which aggravates landslides due to urbanization? People living there do not cause landslides.
The land does not remain that intact, and it sometimes causes landslides.
Land does not remain
intact because due to urbanization. So because due to building of
anyway,
structure.
leave it.
Okay, sir.
One small question. There has been a lot of talk about holding simultaneous elections in India. What is your view on this? Should we have simultaneous elections or not?
Sir, I would say that we can go for simultaneous election given the amount of resources that go into if we conduct elections every year. Every year in few states.
What are the disadvantages of holding simultaneous elections?
So the human resource required would be large because sometimes because
that's okay. Next.
There can be policy paralysis. Sometimes not policy paralysis exactly, but sometimes what happens is during elections, the passing of tenders and these kind of things are put at.
I say, if elections are not held simultaneously, as it is the case now.
So one of the things that comes to my mind is that voters' behavior can get affected.
Voters'
behavior can get affected when national and state elections
something
are
else
pulled together.
What about in between something happening in an assembly?
Okay.
In the period of 5 years, how will you handle that?
Yes, sir. If basically the government falls in a particular state,
what will happen? Simultaneous elections will get disrupted.
Yes, so that is one of the issues I would say with simultaneous elections.
You should not have it. It will be political paralysis. No?
But sir, with the strengthening of anti-defection.
Last question. 20 seconds for that. You are a tennis player.
Okay, sir.
Difference between the qualities that a tennis players require for being a top level player at the French Open vis-a-vis the Wimbledon. What qualities the players should have it?
So physical strength is one of the factors that is required much more in French Open as compared to Wimbledon, because Wimbledon is a grass court and the court gives the speed to the ball. And so secondly is height is one of the factors that I think helps more in French Open, because the ball bounces a lot higher than it bounces in grass on grass court.
So height matters on the grass.
Height matters on.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, you come from Hoshangabad, Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
That too from a village.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me, Narmada is a very important river that flows in Madhya Pradesh and that passes through all Hoshangabad. So can you tell me from where it originates and where the Narmada ends?
Yes, sir. It originates from Amarkantak, sir, and it flows into Arabian Sea, basically through Gujarat.
How long is this river?
Sir, I am not exactly sure.
Why the Madhya Pradesh area can be irrigated better by the Narmada but not by the Chambal? That irrigation. What is the cause differences in two rivers?
Sir, Chambal has higher sedimentation is one of the factors that flow is not proper in Chambal as compared to Narmada. And also, sir, Narmada has a lot of tributaries. So the water flow is a bit consistent in Narmada and not that much in Chambal. That is also one of the factors why Chambal.
It's on the lower surface to the ground.
Yes,
Chambal. So there should be lift irrigation from the Chambal is needed, which is not needed on the banks of the Narmada. This is the major advantage we got in the Narmada river.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you tell me on which river the Utkal Dam is built? Have you got ideas of Utkal Dam?
No, sir, I'm not aware about
Have you got idea of Tapti river? It flows in.
Yes, sir.
Tapi from river. Where it originates?
So
how many?
Okay. Tapi river originates from Maghal Hills.
Baitul district.
Yeah, Baitul district.
Okay.
Yes.
How many villages are in Madhya Pradesh in totality? You come from a village?
Yes, I come from village. I am not sure about the number, but I can take a guess.
Okay, then tell me what I mean. I wanted to know, is the panchayati system in the Madhya Pradesh villages, because we have implemented long before the panchayati, is it successful or is it a failure? I mean failure in the system, we have disintegrated this system, and this system we see, some say it is a corrupt.
I say,
It is a corrupt system, panchayat system.
Sir,
How do you react to it?
so I think decentralization of power is definitely.
But it is
needed.
disintegration of the power. Where you power disintegrate the power, not the panchayat is being properly using those power, nor the district authorities or the government is using.
Sir, panchayat, I would say to some extent decentralization has helped in addressing local problems. Of course, there are issues there with panchayat as well as district authorities, but sir, it has definitely helped, I would say, in creating in bringing.
What are the problems? You have got many problems in your villages. How the panchayat has solved those problems? Can you tell me?
So one of the examples that come to my mind is, sir, the implementation of KCC. Farmers, when KCC came in 1998 till 2005-2006, the adoption rate of KCC of farmers in our village was very low. But through the DM in our district at that time, with the help of Sarpanch in our area, helped in spreading awareness about KCC, and it got implemented.
So panchayat is doing this work.
This is one of the things, and sir, of course, other the funds that they get for health and sanitation.
That is only the work they have done. Any other work can you draw the attention panchayat has done in your villages, or in villages also in general?
So sanitation, I would say, is one of the major things.
They are not doing sanitation, and panchayats are doing. They have not properly employed the employees, they are not giving wages to them. कहाँ sanitation है villages में? Nal Jal Yojana is also failure, almost. Taxation, which is not in the villages.
It's a taxation. Taxation is an issue, but sir, with a limited amount of funds, I think they are.
Abhishek.
Yes, sir.
Studied science in school.
Yes, sir.
Then you went to join IIT.
Yes, sir.
Did mechanical engineering.
Yes, sir.
Then joined a bank. Now you are trying for civil services. Again, there is a panorama of services. We do not know where you will land up. What do you think? What is ailing our education system which leaves the youth confused on what he is going to do in the near future? Do you think there is some change required? If yes, what are those changes? If not, why not?
Sir, I would say that the employability of our education system is bad currently. Some reports say that only 6% of engineers in our country are employable presently. Sir, students are not going for fields according to their choices. Mostly children go for either medical field or engineering field because they feel that through these fields only they can get employment.
Because the boys think, the students think, or their parents think?
Their parents, I would say, sir, mostly. Then, sir, the academic curriculum and infrastructure in universities in our country is not adequate. The research in private universities as well as to some extent in IITs is giving poor output. Then at undergraduate level there is not that much freedom for students to choose between subjects so that they can go for post-graduation.
So what are the changes you suggest briefly?
Okay, sir, a new education policy tries to address some of these changes. For example, sir,
we need not agree to what education policy is saying. You are free to give any suggestion.
Okay, sir, I would say improving infrastructure at school level in government school is very important because the quality of education is poor there, and also, sir, children do not get involved into sports or other activities such as arts that can be improved there. In IT, sir, this academic bank of credit system that they are introducing to give enough flexibility to students is a good initiative. Vocational training at school level is I think is a step in the right direction. These are few changes that I think. Also, Also, not giving enough importance to end exams. That government is trying to introduce through new education policy is also a good step, so that pressure on students can be reduced.
ठीक, सब
Abhishek, I'm happy that you are from Hoshangabad. Hoshangabad, in my opinion, has done in education one of the best programs. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir. I think.
Will you tell me something about it?
Sir, literacy rate in our district as compared to other districts.
I'm talking about HSTP program, Hoshangabad Science Teaching Program.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard this?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What are the details for our all members?
Okay, sir. So it was basically launched in 1972 to basically increase scientific.
Who are the people behind this?
So that I'm not aware of.
Professor Yaspal, Sadgopal, the brilliant minds of the country at that time. Okay.
So, sir, basically it was introduced to increase the scientific temper in people, as well as, sir, they also try to basically introduce some changes in school education, such as giving children in school knowledge about basic phenomena that are scientific in nature, and also, sir, try to introduce some
Let me.
play level.
Whatever new education policy, whatever Kothari, everything was amalgamated in that.
Yes, sir.
Curriculum, first you should know the nearest river, nearest science.
Mhm.
But why it could not be implemented in whole country?
Sir, I think it was the government tried to emulate it throughout India, but through
Government tried throughout India? No, only after persuasion with 15 years with Madhya Pradesh government, only 20 districts implemented.
okay,
And then when it was reversed back, when it was stopped,
sir, I'm not,
okay, in 2002,
okay,
because
sir.
parents wanted that our children should succeed in IAS and IPS, Mr. Chairman, and that's why the whole program was reversed. Anyway, it's a very brilliant, there is a book on this, New Beginning, and there is a Hindi में 𝐬𝐿 तालीम. That will help you, because keeping in your background is a brilliant, in my opinion, one of the best program India ever had, but did not succeed.
Thank you,
Anyway,
sir.
you have been in France also.
Yes, sir.
What is so? What is in your memory about France, European society, education?
Sir, I worked in a research institute there, so I would say research facilities were brilliant. There also, sir, such as
Brilliant means?
brilliant means, sir, the instruments that we required during our research were present there. Also, sir, professors used to take feedback from us time to time. He also used to take to.
If
take
you compare with those feedback and Kanpur IIT feedback?
Sir, I would say at bachelor's level, the interaction of professors and students in IIT Kanpur is a bit low in that regard.
It is quite low.
Yes,
Quite low.
yes, sir, it is quite low. So, in that regard, I would say
The reason is now in IIT, the ratio is also not that big. The students are also limited.
Mhm.
Then why?
Sir, I would say the students initially, sir, they have the focus of getting a job in a private sector. So students themselves, most of the students do not want to get involved into research.
So what compels you for private sector? Now you the shifted completely. In Axis Bank, what the general, because every minute that one candidate in the bank in 1 year or so. So I think the exit rate must be very high.
Okay, from private
Private bank,
sector.
especially banks.
Mhm.
What's the reason for that? You worked in for 1 year only.
Yes, sir, my reason was different. I had aspired for UPSC from my school days only. I went there because I wanted to pay off an education loan, which I had taken during
Okay,
my
just
state
last
life.
question. So what UPSC you are aspiring since your IIT days? So which is the area you would like to contribute or work with?
Sir, agriculture would be one of the sectors that I would like to contribute in, because 50% of our people are employed there, and still, sir, there are issues in that sector.
Any problem of Hoshangabad area? especially
So
in the agriculture sector.
water level is going down and the use of fertilizers has increased a lot.
But there was a dispute of Bandh also, no? That dam, Tawa dam is near to Hoshangabad?
Yes, sir. Tawa Dam is near to.
So now the settled issue?
So you're talking about fisheries issue or?
Fisheries issue.
Sir, I had read about it that there was issue going on, but I'm not sure whether it is settled or not, sir.
Okay, just last one more. One blind DM was posted in Hoshangabad.
Okay.
Who was blind from that. Are you aware of that?
No, sir. I'm not.
Okay, just his contribution, that what the difficulty he saw. Sorry.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Abhishek, should we go back to economics?
Sure, sir.
You know, this has been going on for quite some time, but finally the US Senate approved Biden's $3.5 trillion infrastructure package. This is in addition to $1 trillion already approved, in addition to $1 trillion which they approved for Trump, in addition to $900 billion which they approved just at the beginning of the corona crisis. Tell me, as an Indian, how do you look at this for the viewpoint of Indian economy? Do you look at this as a headwind or a tailwind?
So headwind.
Headwind, which means as an adverse development, or it is a good development.
Sir, I would say infrastructure spending because
So that is for the Americans. Yeah, now, what impact this kind of spending would have on Indian economy or could have on Indian economy?
if our
In the short run and in the medium run.
if our government spends like this or
No, they are spending it. I'm saying you sitting here, if you ask me, I'm a bit worried. Why should I be worried? They are spending $4 trillion. Let them spend it, or $5 trillion. Let them spend it.
So one of the reasons would be, sir, pumping so much liquidity into system and so that is happening through basically pushing interest rate down.
How do they bring so much of money? What is the mechanism they use?
So government is basically borrowing through government securities and
Borrowing.
government bonds, yes.
And what is the instrument they use for this kind of borrowing?
So securities of government treasury bills, I would say.
Treasury bills, right? The bonds or what? Treasury bills, all right. And who buys it then?
Sir,
Because people are not interested in those treasury bills. They want money.
sir, people in the economy, banks sometimes also buy that, corporate sector. These are the major.
But then how it reaches people, in fact?
Yes, sir.
How does it reach people?
Yeah, the securities.
Money. Because you have to take the money to people, isn't it? Either you will pay to the contractor to build your hospitals, schools, roads, or you will pay to people to help them kind of recover their normal life.
So government after borrowing
They
this
print money, right? They print.
Yeah, one of the
Fed prints money.
either they borrow or they print. So this is the borrowing mechanism. Sometimes they print
Borrowing
as well.
because they buy the treasury bills. So it's only a technicality. But at the end of the day, the money is printed and given to the government.
Yes,
right?
yes, sir.
When the money is given, so much money is pumped, what happens to the economy?
So inflation, there's a chance of inflation.
Now,
rising.
if inflation happens in the US, what countermeasures the Fed will have to take?
So they will have to push the interest rate up.
Interest rate. As soon as they push the interest rate, what kind of consequence you foresee in the market, in the economy as such?
For Indian economy,
No, first
for
you stay
American
there.
economy.
Then
Okay.
the impact will come on Indian economy and other economies.
Okay. Sir, interest rate, going up of interest rate, people would basically not spend in the economy. People would save their money through deposits.
What else? Much more difficult consequence related to debt.
Yes, if the interest rate goes up in the economy, then interest payments of the government also
So debt
rises.
servicing becomes more expensive.
Yes, sir.
And what does it result in when the debt servicing becomes more expensive? There's a possibility of a debt default.
Yes, sir. Possibility of a default.
Now, most of the economic crises have occurred because of debt default. Now, once the American system goes through debt default, what happens to the global economy then?
So the confidence in the global economy would be reduced because
Come to India now. Pinpoint it as an economist, not as a conversationalist.
Okay.
Tell me what happens in the immediate future because of the $3.5 trillion coming into the market, and then what kind of risk we run in case there is a debt default.
So in the short run, I would say if the American government defaults, people would look for.
No, abhi default nahi kiya na. Short run, the money has been pumped into the market. Short term impact on us or in other countries also, world over.
Currently, the interest rate is reduced after this.
Currently, it is zero here almost.
So it leads to flowing of foreign direct investment to other countries because America is not offering.
Now
that
tell
kind of
me,
interest rate. Yes, sir.
This money in India will come into FDI or it will go into other hot sectors?
Sir, FII, I would say currently also it is happening already.
Hot. It will inflate your asset price bubble.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then what happens when there is a possibility of a default?
Yes, sir.
Then what happens?
So the asset bubble can crash down like that happened in.
Bubble will burst.
Yes, sir. 2000.
And the global economy can again sink.
Recession. Yes, sir.
Tell me, in most of the cases, in fact, the American economy, and then later on the emerging economies, they played a major role in pulling the global economy out of crisis. Tell me today, do you think the Americans have the capacity of pulling the global economy out of crisis?
Sir, I would say given more than 90%.
Very quick, your heart opinion. Do
Sir,
you think they have the same capacity as in the past they had to pull global economy out of recession or crisis?
Sir, I don't think so.
Do you think the emerging economies have the capacity to pull the economy out of crisis? Be the Chinese or Indian or Brazilian, we are ourselves suffering.
Sir,
What is the single most important factor which pulls the global economy out of crisis? One single important.
So, creation of consumption demand.
Demand.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So the Americans will not be able to create more demand. The Chinese will not be able to create same demand. The Indian economy will not be able to do it. The Europeans are flat. The Japanese are flat. Latin Americans are flat. Tell me now in one word, good idea or bad idea?
This fiscal spending by US government.
$3.5 trillion more money coming into the market. As an Indian, should you sleep with peace or you should be worried?
Sir, I would say, but there is also a chance that this spending generates consumption demand in the economy and the US economy performs well, and that
all right,
will
that's
have
wishful.
impulse.
Fine. If it comes, then of course we'll all celebrate.
But if the bubble bursts, sir, then it would take a
What is
long
your,
time.
on a scale of 0 to 10, what percentage you think the bubble will burst? 3%, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
Sir, I would say there's a 10% chance out of.
Only.
Yes, sir. I would say that a federal bank in United States, they would
Then you enjoy
certainly
your life. If it is only 10%, there is no reason to worry.
keep a check. I would say.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I was taking you into theoretical.
Yes, I enjoy.
Philosophy, economics, go beyond.
I enjoyed it, sir.
All right. Tell me, how did you do?
Sir, I could have answered some questions a bit better. Sir asked some questions about simultaneous elections and those things I could have answered a bit better, I would say.
That's all right. Anybody can improve, always can improve. August 25,
Yes, sir.
first time before UPSC.
Oh, yes, sir.
From the first timer viewpoint, you did well, very well, in fact.
Okay, sir.
I would suggest work on your information knowledge in the next 25 days. Practice a bit, formulating information into answers. Economics, pay more attention than
Okay,
your
sir.
engineering, right? And try to understand these nuances, right? The problem is that it is not Adam Smith. Adam Smith was an honest economist. So was Karl Marx and honest, right? So was Keynes. But we are running political economy, in fact. So political economy is different from pure economics, right? So keep that in back of your mind when you answer. Where you can qualify, sir, pure economics, if we look at, this will happen. But there is nowhere in the world today there is pure economics. Economics has not been left to economics. It is political economics, it's social economics, it's cultural economics, it is religious economics. But dominant is political. Political, exactly. So be careful there, because sometimes you start feeling that economics works in an autonomous manner. It doesn't. It works under so many pressures that you cannot really forecast as an economist. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Anybody, you want to say something? Good candidate, very good. Concentrate on economics and current affairs. Okay?
Okay, sir. So one thing I would like to ask, that at the end you asked that is this going to turn into like recession?
Say political economics now, please. I gave you the hint.
Okay, sir.
You see, this will, if it happens, it will not be the first economic crisis in the world. Right? It's a cyclical process. Every 10 to 15 years, you have global economic crisis. The problem this time is that the Americans single-handedly had the capacity of pulling the economy out of crisis. But today, that possibility is not there. The share of the American economy in the global economy has shrank. Their share in trade has shrunk. And that is why in the last crises, especially the South Asian crisis, the dot-com crisis, the latest 2008 crisis, the emerging economies shared a lot of burden in pulling the economy out. But आज situation ये है, because of the COVID, all economies are in bad shape. सारे engines की हवा निकली हुई है. तो कौन सा engine बाहर निकालेगा? ये बहुत बड़ा सवाल है.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है? इस चीज को दिमाग में रखना कि साहब इस समय जो 3-4 मेजर इकोनॉमिक engines हैं ग्लोबल, वो सारे engines की हवा निकली पड़ी. ये मुश्किल है. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Last thing to you about Panchayat, you were telling. Panchayat system, if it is failure, if it is incompetent in some parts, so there is nothing bad in saying that. Because it is a transition period, just we have given power to them. And with the time, they will learn the accountability, responsibility. Because many significance of the Panchayat system are there. But as well as there is the dark side of the Panchayat system.
But
So
not
no
worry.
harm.
आप देखिए, कल देखिए राज्यसभा के चेयरपर्सन रो पड़े ना, तो जो पार्लियामेंट फेल हो, मतलब स्लिप आप कर सकती है, तो पंचायत का तो पंचायत नहीं कर सकती. तो आप 15th century. Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. You're a good candidate.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
good luck.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.